Hello everyone, welcome to Literature Addicts One channel. Today we will be discussing reader response theory, and it's gonna to be useful for NTA UGC NET English, TU MA entrance exam, MA CU CET entrance exam, and for other competitive exams. So now let's start reader response theory. Reader response theory began in 1960s and 1970s, particularly in US and Germany. It means it emerges in 1960s and 70s in US and Germany. It is defined as a school of literary theory that focuses on the reader and the experience of a literary work in contrast to other schools and theories that focuses attention primarily on the author or the content and form of work. It means reader response theory puts entire focus on reader and their literary experience, while in other theories we see entire focus is on either on author or content or form of work. Next, it opposes the formalist theory which says that text in itself. It means they do not agree with the formalist theory which says that text is complete in itself. Next, reader response theory believes that it is the author who creates the text. After that, it is the reader who experience, interpret, and reveals the hidden meaning of the text. It means reader response theory believe that it is the author who creates the text, but after that it is the reader who experience, interpret, and reveals the hidden meaning of the text. Next, thus, reader response theory recognizes the reader as an active agent rather than passive because reader is a producer rather than a consumer of meaning from the text, as meaning is not static but subjective. Simply, it means that the reader response theory recognizes reader as an active agent rather than passive, and they consider reader as a producer rather than consumer of the meaning from the text. Next, reader response critiques also believe that a reader's interaction with the text give the text its meaning, due to which a text may have more than one valid interpretation. But all interpretations are not valid as long as the reader provide evidence in the text. As in each text, there are limits to its possible interpretations. For example, we can't change the setting, plot, or redefining the characters. It simply means that a text may have many interpretations given by a reader on their literary experience of text, but all those interpretations are not valid as long as they provide proof or evidence from the text. Like, reader can't change the setting, can't change the plot, can't redefine the characters. If we talk about Romeo and Juliet, we can't say that Romeo is not a lover. He's a labor guy. We can't say that's a love story that follows that plot, and we can't change it. So now let's come on next. Reader response critiques also believe that reading must be aesthetic rather than afferent. Means reading must be for pleasure rather than for information. They believe that. Now let's we talk about some important writers. Number 1, Norman Hollein, Wolfgang Iser, Stanley Fish, Hans Robert Joss. Let's discuss one by one. First, we will discuss Norman Hollein. He is an American literary critique is a psychological reader response critique, and he tries to analyze the psyche of the reader's interpretations. Important works given by him. Number one, The Dynamics of Literary Response, given in the year 1968. Next, Poems in Persons, An Introduction to the Psychoanalysis of Literature, given in the year 1973. Five Readers Reading, given in the year 1975. The most important concept given by him is psychological analysis of our text. So, what he means by this concept, let's get into the depth of it. In order to understand how the reader reads, he gets into the brain of a reader and he tries to get the psychoanalytic analysis of process of reading. It means that he wants to understand how the reader reads or approach the text, because of which he decided to get into the brain of the reader, and it is possible through the psychoanalytic analysis of process of reading, which he did that. Our next point, according to Holland, reader interpretation is going to present more about the personality of the reader and less about the text. He says that reader interpretation is not going to present more information about the text, but it is going to present how about the reader's personality, means how he like the text, what his point of view, what's his personality, what he likes, what he doesn't like. This is more we are gonna to know about through the reader's interpretation. Further, he says text is open, means there is no universally determinate meaning of a particular text, because every reader is going to create a meaning in a very different way as the interpretation comes from the conscious and unconscious mind. He says that there is no universal determinate meaning of a text because there are more than one valid interpretations which the reader are going to give us, because those interpretations come from the conscious and unconscious mind. We'll deal it in Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic criticism. According to Holland, when you read an interpretation of a reader, you are going to look at the reader's fantasy plus personality of the reader and unconscious thoughts of the reader's brain. When we read an interpretation or review given by the reader, we are going to have the look of the reader's personality or that reviewer's personality, what he likes, what he doesn't like, what's his or her thoughts during approaching that movie, before having those thoughts in his or her mind before approaching that text or movie. So that's going to reveal more about the reader's personality. This is the psychoanalytical concept given by Holland. Next we comes on Wolfgang Iser. He is a German literary scholar. One important work is given by him is The Act of Reading, a Theory of Aesthetic Response, 1978. And there are three important concepts that he gave. Now we'll look at into that. Number one, two kinds of meaning in a text. He had given two kinds of meaning in a text. Number one, determinate meaning. By determinate meaning, he means the facts which are there in the text, means the surface meaning, the actual meaning of the text. Next, he talks about indeterminate meaning, which refers to the gaps of the text, which are left for reader's interpretation according to his or her understanding. Like you had seen in feminist writings, there are gaps that are left for the readers to understand what the writer wants to say on the experience. That's the indeterminate meaning, but there should always a determinate meaning, that we see there is a surface meaning and there's a hidden meaning. Now let's come to the next concept. Number second, he had given two kinds of writer he had talked about. Number one, impiled writer and actual writer. Writer I'm saying. It is also known as hypothetical reader. Who is hypothetical reader? Who uses simile, metaphor, and irony, and he's considered as an ideal reader because she is understanding what the author writing and with what intention at the moment. Let me tell you, it doesn't exist because no two people can think alive, but it is in the mind of the reader. Sorry, I had made a mistake. Hypothetical reader is in the mind of the author, but it doesn't exist in reality because no two people can think alike. Implied reader finds out the determinate meaning of the text. It's absolutely fine if two people are thinking they will drive the same meaning, but it can't happen in reality. It's also it's it's an only fantastic world. Next comes actual reader. It refers to the one who responds to the text. He's the real reader which exists because all of us reads the text based on our level of consciousness, personal experience, and therefore no two people can share similar experience. Actual reader is the one who fills the gap in the text and finds out the indeterminate meaning of the text. So it is the actual reader which gives us the valid interpretations. But when the author was writing a text, she was writing text by keeping in mind the hypothetical reader, which doesn't exist. Now let's come on the third concept given by him. Reception aesthetic. Reception aesthetic describes the direct relationship between reader and text in which reader relates himself or herself to the text. It's in so simple term, there is no need to explain anything in this. Now let's come on the next writer, Stanley Fish. Stanley Fish is an American literary scholar and critic. He had given the term effective stylist. Effective stylist refers to the process through which the reading of a text contributes to its meaning and does not merely extract it. Next, he said that meaning of a word is not important, but context of a word is important, which depends on reader. This is the most important line that I will say you all will mark it. He focuses on the content of the word, not on the meaning of the word. Some important works given by him. Number 1, Surprised by Sin, The Reader in Paradise Lost, given in the year 1967. Next, Interpreting the Veronum, 1976. Number 3, Is There a Text in This Class? The Authority of Interpretative Communities, given in the year 1980s. And the most important concept given by him is interpretative community. What is interpretative community? So it is a group of readers who share same culture, linguistic background, and on that basis they interpret the text. And as a result, the interpretation will differ from one community to other. It means, according to Fish, every text will going to have subjective response and the objective response. An objective response is the result of interpretative community to which reader belong, as every reader is a product of society. As a result, they are going to influence the interpretation of the text. Next writer is Hans Robert Joss. He is a German literary critic. Important works given by him. Number 1, Towards an Aesthetic of Reception. Number 2, New Literary History. Let's talk about some important concepts given by him. He had given 2 important concepts. Number 1, Horizon of Expectation. He coined this term. Horizon of expectation means the mental expectation that reader will have before approaching a text, that I already discussed when I was in the starting, that before approaching the text, a reader or a reviewer have some expectations, whether it's from the book or whether it's from the movie. He gave the term to explain how the reader expectation is based on reader's past literary experience and his preconceived notions. He said that it is based on reader's past literary experience which he or she had, or before approaching that text he's going to have that mental expectation, that preconceived notions. Like, if I'm going to present a Romeo Juliet movie and I'm making Romeo Juliet as um, div- an revengeous tragedy instead of an as love story, I will making it as revenge story. So if you are a new viewer or a new reader, so what you are going to have, you are going to have it's Romeo Juliet. You had already studied Romeo Juliet tragedy by Shakespeare. So you are going to have it's going to be a love story. But when you saw that movie or that read that text, you are going to say, it's not like that. But I had some preconceived notions that she or he will have. Next concept, reception theory. This concept is given by him in the work Towards an Aesthetic of Reception in the year 1960. It refers to a historical application of the reader response theory by emphasizing altering interpretative and evaluative responses of generation of readers to a text. It focuses on the scope for negotiation and opposition on the part of the general public over a period of time in history, as they interpret the meaning of a text based on their respective culture, background, and life experiences. This is all about reader response theory. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Have a good day.